How's it going, guys? My name is Ted, and I'm bringing you guys some information about the Galaxy Grand. This is a huge 5-inch mid-range device recently announced by Samsung. It was announced back in December, as a matter of fact, but some new information has surfaced recently, and I wanted to refresh this topic a little bit, give you guys some of the newer specs, as well as some of the information regarding both the international versions, the Korean version, and the American version of this device. Moving on to the very first topic is the 5-inch display. A lot of devices these days are coming with a 1080p full high-definition display that just absolutely knocks your socks off. This device is not the same. This device, unfortunately, is only coming with a WVGA display. That's a resolution of 800 by 480. To put this in perspective, this phone's coming with a 187 pixel per inch ratio, as opposed to the 5-inch 1080p displays that are coming out on most devices have a 440 pixel per inch ratio. So not nearly the number of pixels, not nearly as crisp of a display, but it is going to be a lot cheaper because of that. Let's move on to the internals, and you'll see as well why it's very, very mid-range. As far as the Android version coming with Android 4.1, that's pretty normal for most devices these days, and it's going to be topped with TouchWiz. It's the user interface made by Samsung themselves. But as far as your processor, you're definitely being knocked down in this category to a dual-core 1.2 gigahertz processor. This isn't very good nowadays. We're definitely expecting quad-core devices. Even in some of the mid-range devices, they're going to stick with the quad cores, but this device is stuck with only a dual-core 1.2 gigahertz. That's very, very meager in my opinion. As far as the cameras, you're coming with an 8 megapixel rear-facing camera and a 2 megapixel front-facing camera. Not too bad there. I was actually kind of impressed. A 2 megapixel front-facing camera is definitely not what I was expecting on a mid-range device. Normally you see like 1.3 megapixel cameras, but this one, both front and rear cameras can record at full high definition, which is 1080p recording, and it comes with a 2,100 milliamp hour battery. This is the same battery as in the Galaxy S3, so you don't expect fantastic battery life, but because of that lower resolution screen, you might find pretty good battery life because of that low resolution. As far as your RAM and your ROM, you're coming with 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is about half of what's average nowadays. Normally you expect 2 gigabytes on most phones nowadays, but you're also coming with 8 gigabytes of onboard storage, which is your ROM, with the choice to expand that through the use of a micro SD card slot. I love about Samsung how they have these micro SD card expandability slots on all their devices, at least most all their devices. Samsung's really big on the micro SD card slot. I think that's really neat. It's one of the things that other OEMs need to catch on to. I'm looking at you, HTC. Most OEMs never let you expand your memory. Samsung's letting you, even on a mid-range device. It's definitely something that's great to see. As far as your bands, now these are the connectivity bands, such as Verizon, at&t, T-Mobile, Sprint, or any international carriers. Everyone's got different bands. As far as this phone goes, you're not coming with LTE over here in the United States. So if that's something you're big on, look to a different location, because this phone will not sport the LTE capabilities. It'll come with HSPA global bands, which is like the 1900 megahertz spectrum, 2100 megahertz spectrum, but it will not come with LTE support. Now, one little interesting thing that was kind of funny was that in Samsung's hometown, which is Korea, that's where Samsung is stationed at, that's where their headquarters are at least, they're making a phone for themselves that's got a quad-core Exynos 4 processor clocked at 1.4 gigahertz and LTE for only $325. So it's interesting to see that in Korea, which is where Samsung's at, their people get a much better phone with LTE support, the quad-core processor, for a much lower price, and us Americans in the international variants are going to come with no LTE, only a dual-core processor, and probably pay a lot more than $325 for the device. Something to keep in mind when you're buying this device: if you like LTE, if you like quad-core processors, if you like low prices, maybe look at other phones. I don't think this phone's going to be the best option. I don't think it's going to be a very big seller, but it does fit that niche 5-inch market for mid-range devices. Hope you guys learned something new. As always, if you're interested in the latest and greatest Android news, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post a lot of Android-related content, as well as videos, reviews, rumors, feedback. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this video, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.